6'8", 225 pounds, out of Duke University. Say hello to Jay Bilas. Yeah. Look at the pants on him.
Yeah.
When I saw Jay, I said he's like Captain Stubing. Like, he looks like if he would be on the Love Boat. He would greet you as you came onto the Love Boat. You look good. You look like red, white, and blue. You're patriotic.
Going to nursing school.
You need the Steph Curry shoes, though.
I got them.
Good to see you.
You too. Great to see you as always.
How many Final Fours?
I was one as a player. My senior year, we went to the championship game, and then 3 as a graduate assistant coach. And so my 3 years of, if you want to call what I did coaching, all I did was get Coach K coffee in the USA Today. But my 3 years, we went to the championship game every year.
Do you miss that?
I do. Yeah, I miss going to the championship game every year. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing I miss most about sort of being in it was, you had skin in the game. You know how it is in broadcasting. You finish the game and you go out and have a drink, and
Yeah.
you don't care who wins or loses. It's been now it's been 20 some years that I've gone to basketball games that I don't care who wins or loses, and that's not the way it was when you were younger. You cared, and you cared deeply. Now I go to a game, I don't care who wins.
I told people that. I tell people that all the time. They say, who are you rooting for? And I said, just a great story, because you can tell a great story over and over and over. And, hence we have Loyola of Chicago in here. But trying to, we love to categorize and say, okay, where would this rank in surprising national champs? I don't want to say biggest upsets, because that would be demeaning what Loyola did during the regular season. But let's say surprising national champs. Let's say Loyola won this. Where would it rank in your opinion?
I think it would be the best story that we've ever had. I think it would, since the tournament expanded to 64 in 1985, I think this would be the story. If Butler had won in 2010, if Gordon Hayward hit that half-court shot, that would have been it. But this is with Sister Jean and all the things that go around it, this would be the best story. And I think Loyola Chicago has the best chance of any of the double-digit seeds to win this thing, just because none of the other teams have this crazy physical advantage over them. And I think that's a big difference. Like, there's not a super athleticism advantage or size advantage. It's really sort of physically a fair fight.
How long did it take you to separate yourself from Duke, where you didn't care or you cared less about what they did, when you're working to separate that?
I don't know that it was that hard. I think the hard part was early on, and this is in the 90s of your sort of, back then it was just getting started. Now I think you could term it, it's been a career. But worrying about what people will say about what you said. And I let go of that a long time ago. It's been well over a decade and a half that I've given up caring what people, I care what people think, but I don't worry about it. And if you say something somebody doesn't like, you listen to their complaint about it, and if it's reasonable, you deal with it. If it's right, you deal with it. If it's reasonable, you listen to it. If it's unreasonable, you dismiss it. And,
has Coach K criticized you?
A few times, yeah, over the years. Yeah, there are a few things you've said that he didn't like, and he said so. But I respect that. Like, I want, if somebody, if you say something that somebody doesn't like, I want to know that they don't like it and why. I'd rather not have them talking behind your back, upset about it. Just say what you think, and we can figure it out. It's not that hard.
Can you tell the story? Because people don't realize Jay got drafted by the Dallas Mavericks, and they had guaranteed contracts, so you weren't going to make the team. You go to Italy, and then you meet up with Leo Rautins, who was the great big man at Syracuse. He was your teammate in Italy. Mm-hmm. And he tells the story. I'll let you tell it better, but Leo was a great, good passing big man, good shooter, the whole thing. So he wants to be a facilitator when you get to Italy, right? That he's going to be the passer when you get there. You're going to get some shots.
Yeah, he was more than a passing big man. He was a 6'8" point guard. He played point guard. He actually he and Magic Johnson. He went to Minnesota before he went to Syracuse. And so Leo, I think he either led the Big Ten in assists or was right there with Magic Johnson in like 1979. But then he transferred and went to Syracuse. So Syracuse recruited me. I was actually, shockingly, the first kid from California that Jim Boeheim ever recruited. And then he always says that after he found out he could get a kid out there, he recruited the good players in California. So I knew Leo from before we were teammates in Italy. So one of my teammates in Italy, back then there were only 2 Americans per team. So the guy got cut, and then they brought Leo in. And so I'd known him, and so we went to dinner, and Leo was telling me, now, I'm a great passer. You get open, I will get you the ball. I promise you. So we play the next night, and he shot it. He scored 40 points and shot it every time he touched it. and after the game, we won. After the game, I was like, what happened to this great passer thing? And he said, well, what I didn't tell you was the first rule of a point guard is understand the limitations of your teammates. So he understood
How long
those.
did you last in Italy?
3 years. It wasn't how long I lasted.
I'm sorry, my bad.
How long did you last?
Yeah. How long did you?
My shelf life. They discovered I was a fraud in 3 years, Dan. I was 2 years in Italy, and then I played a part of a year in Spain.
What's going on with the Syracuse recruit? Who's so you got a 5-star recruit who's going to the G League here?
Yeah, Baisley.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's out of Ohio.
Yeah, he's like just about 18. I don't even think he's turned 18
I think he's 17.
Yet. And left-handed kid, 6'9". He's a really, really talented player.
But what's this mean if? Is he going to be drafted and then he goes to a team, or did he just sign with the G League team? I don't know how
the
this.
G League rules are different. So once you're draft eligible, you can sign these two-way contracts, which confuses some people. He goes directly into the G League, and he will be drafted out of the G League when he becomes draft eligible. So he's not draft eligible under the current rules until he's 1 year removed from his high school graduation and 19 years old.
He can't play in the NBA.
No, he cannot play. He cannot play in the NBA until he's draft eligible. That's sort of the rule through the collective bargaining agreement is when you can be drafted.
And he's going to get. I think the salary is upwards of $26,000 that he's going to be able to make. But I'm curious. Is this a one and done for him? That a great high school player is going to go into the G League, or do you think this could open the door where kids go, you know what, maybe that makes more sense for me?
I think unless you can get a bunch of shoe money, there are endorsement possibilities, and the NCAA doesn't do anything with this Rice Commission to open things up. I can see some more players doing it.
But I can get an agent.
Yeah.
So somebody can front me $75,000 or $100,000 legally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you go into the G League.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about this whole FBI thing. So take a shoe company. A shoe company can come to you as a player out of high school before you ever get to college and say, hey, we'll give you $500,000 to bypass college. There's nothing illegal about that. You could do that in a heartbeat. The only thing illegal, and I don't even think it's illegal, but the government does. The only thing illegal about this whole thing is the players. The violation of NCAA rules is putting these institutions in peril, and they're the victims. According to the government's theory, the school is the victim because they could be losing money if they are caught violating NCAA rules. And you're like, wait a minute, that's like a bank defrauding its customers and saying, look, we're the victim because the SEC could come in and hit us with sanctions. It's crazy.
But this is a way that you can avoid college, get paid, go into now. This is a worst case scenario for college basketball, I would think.
I don't think it's the worst case scenario, but I think it's bad. And here's why. I have a different opinion on this than most other people or some people. And that is, I think we're sending a really bad message to young people that are coming up in the game. And that is, we are basically saying, if you, and the NCAA is saying it, if you don't want to come to college and live by our arbitrary timetable of 4 years in school to get a degree and play for us under our rules, if you don't want to be Bill Bradley, we don't want you at all. And I think that's a really bad message to send to high school kids and kids younger than that in this game that are largely African American. I think that's because I think 1 year of college is better than none, and I think 2 years is better than one. And I think establishing a relationship with a school is a really good thing for any kid. And I promise you there are people within the NCAA structure that say this all the time. I hear it. They say, some people don't belong in college.
Yeah.
And my response to that is, screw you. We've got thousands of colleges in this country. There is a college for everyone. Now, your school might not be for everyone, but there's a college for everyone here. And any NCAA administrator that says that, my response to them is, screw you.
Whoa. See, that's why he's known as the moral compass here. Speaking on behalf of America, you are the compass here.
Red, white, and blue.
No, I love that. We were also talking before we came on the air. Jay played basketball in California, Los Angeles, and you would play pickup games. Cheryl Miller was Reggie Miller's sister, so you would actually play in games where Cheryl was playing.
Yeah, they weren't pickup games; they were real games. When I was a kid, and it only happened once I played against her, but I played on a little travel team.
Was she better than Reggie at any point?
I'd be surprised, maybe, but I mean, Reggie's younger than her. Like I played against Reggie in high school. Reggie was a great player.
How many did you score?
I don't remember numbers, but I mean, even back then, before there was a three-point shot, he shot it from everywhere, and to the point where other players didn't understand what he was doing.
Because there's no three-point.
No three-point shot back then. This was the early '80s, and he could really shoot it. And there was no way he weighed 150 pounds or 100. So he was.
So he's 6'7", 150.
Yeah, like he bulked up at UCLA.
He's up to 160.
Yeah, he walked by the weight room and gained weight.
But if people don't, and we love to compare, and I just did it, but we love to compare women's basketball. Like, how would Diana Taurasi play against the men? And I always say you're missing the point of watching. Serena Williams. Well, how would she do against Roger Federer? Enjoy what you see in the world that they're in, instead of saying, well, Annika Sorenstam couldn't play on the PGA Tour. Okay, maybe she couldn't, but is she still great in what she does? You look at women's college basketball now, what UConn has done. Is it great for the game that UConn is dominating?
I don't think it's any better or worse for the game than UCLA was for the men's game. I think UConn is phenomenal. If you look at all the other teams and the rest of the landscape of women's college basketball, and I watch, I'm not telling you I watch it as much as men's because I don't, but I watch it. There's ups and downs for every other program. So Baylor has been great, but they're not. Everybody has ups and downs. Maryland, you name it. Now all 4 number 1 seeds make it, but they're not the same 4 number 1 seeds all the time. UConn has been there consistently forever. And the consistency with which they play at the highest level is shocking. And they have very little dips in any regard. And they compete. I think their practices are probably as competitive as any game they ever play. It's ridiculous how good.
Well,
how
that
good
second team could be better than most first teams.
Exactly.
For other schools.
Exactly. And Gino's as good a coach as there is in any sport.
Is he as good as Coach K?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because people say, oh, well, are you interested in coaching the men? And I go, he doesn't, like, you have to now prove that you can really coach by coaching the men. I go, he doesn't have to do that.
He doesn't have to, but if he wanted to, he could do it in a heartbeat. So could Pat Summitt have done it.
Do you think that UConn looked at him to replace Kevin Ollie?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
So do you do that as the obligatory, hey, are you interested in this? And if you are, you want to have the job?
Oh no, I think it was very serious. I think for them to if you've got a Hall of Famer down the hallway,
yeah,
and if you're not looking at him, I think somebody needs to look at your position and see what are you doing.
He was close. Was he interested in doing it?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea whether he would have done it, whether he had interest in it. But you know that the decision makers were going, wait a minute, we have this.
Yeah.
We'd be crazy not to do this.
All right. During the commercial break, live looking, would you judge the Danettes jumpers? I mean, just form.
Do you think there's going to be? What do you think the decision's going to be there?
Straight to the G League is what I think the decision's going to be.
They might want to negotiate that $26,000 down a bit.
Is there a Z League?
Yes.
Gee Whiz League. Jay, great to see you.
Great to see you as always.
Thank you for all
Thank
the
you.
contributions, the entire year with college basketball. We appreciate it.
Kind of
He's
Thank
the
you.
moral compass. He's Jay Bilas.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.